The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Richland, Washington, on your new apparatus, job number 30260. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the front bumper, you have a right and left dual air horns. Located just inside on the passenger side on the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren. Mounted in the center, you'll find your mechanical siren. Moving up onto the top of the front section of the body, on the outer edges, you'll find two right and left marker lights. Just inside, you'll find your light cluster. Low beam is on the outer edge, and your high beam is on the inner. Moving up from that, you'll find your right and turn indicator, and just inside from that cluster, you'll find an emergency warning light. Moving up further up onto your seamless one-piece window, you'll have three wiper blades. On the outer edges, your mirrors have a flat and convex. To the upper portion of the brow of the apparatus, you'll find 5 running lights. And all the way to the very top, your emergency warning lights. Just inside, you'll find your Opticom forward facing. Underneath your apparatus, you'll find 2 closed tow hooks. Generalized view here of the front of your apparatus. Let's talk a little bit about those mirrors. The lower section is a convex portion, and the upper portion is flat, controlled from inside the cab. Generalized view of the side of your apparatus. Let's take at the wheel and rim, and in the center you'll find your Stemco visual indicator for the hub. Here's a picture of your logo. Let's go ahead and take a little bit further back on this side. You'll find just underneath the name Richland, you'll find your auto eject shore inlet 20 amp plug. Moving up onto the top in the black section here, you'll find a side facing floodlight. Down in the lower portion, you'll find all of your door locks are keyed. And at the very top rear section, you'll find an indicator on the right and left side for your tank indicator as far as the water level. Generalized view of the side section, mid section of your pump. Just beneath that, you'll find your foam pump discharge drain and also intake drain. Just moving slightly to the rear of this section, you'll find additional discharge valves. In this location, you'll find the crosslays, main inlet, and also drain valves in black. And as we move up onto the very top, let's take a look at the section that houses some of the components for discharges. Upper left-hand corner, because there's hose coming off of this, you'll find an entanglement warning. As you look at the very top, there are sections to remove this entire panel by loosening all of the latches. You also have 2 work lights on either side of the Pierce logo. Moving down, you'll find once again additional warning labels, and in the very center you'll find this override. You're also going to find some information on warning regarding pressurized caps. Let's take a look down at the lower left-hand corner. There are 2 discharges in this area, 2.5-inch discharges, clearly labeled, in addition with color coded to the discharge valve. In the very center, you'll find your large diameter intake. Just to the right of that, you'll find an additional access door, which we'll cover at a later point. Down on the lower section, you'll find another access door, and we'll cover that in the next set of images. To the right of that access door, you'll find your 2.5 auxiliary inlet. To the right of that location, you'll find your foam inlet, 3-section, in, out, and also a strainer. To the right of that, you'll find your Watrous placard. And beneath that, you'll find 4 additional drain valves. And on the very far right-hand side of your pump panel, you'll find your pump drain, And just beneath that, you'll find your manual pump shift override. Here's the driver main inlet override. This requires a tool which is located in your apparatus. Generalized view, behind this compartment, you'll find your access for your electronic valve. As we look in the next compartment down, you'll find this is the inlet for your foam for allowing you to fill. There are positions and instructions within inside that area. This is going to be your draft foam tank lever in addition with the inlet. On the very bottom, you'll find your wattress label at the very top. It tells you your pump model and transmission model in addition with date and capacities. As we look to the right, you'll find your pump drain, and just beneath the pump drain, the manual pump shift override. In the pass-through area, let's talk a little bit about some of the lights on the very back of the wall. There are a variety of step lights here, also for safety while you're operating in that area. In the very front section here, you'll find a latch. That latch gives access to a storage compartment. There's one on the opposite side, same location. As we look up just slightly, you'll see the crosslays, which you can access from this area and also from the sides. To gain access for pulling the hose, simply release the mechanism to allow the red cover to be dropped down to gain access to the hose lays. There are two crosslays in this location. Let's talk about the pump panel and some of the components there. We're going to start in the upper right-hand corner and move all the way across. In the upper right-hand corner, the same style latches. These are chrome to allow that panel to drop down. Just down from that, you'll find your Pierce maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250, your GPMs, and also the RPMs associated with it. There is also an informational warning label here regarding the use of the owner's manual. You'll find this is going to be the valve position for opening and closing the inlet in the rear. You're also going to find a large section of switches here we'll talk about. You'll talk about your engine cooler, and beneath that you'll talk about your fire pump primer. On the pump panel here, you'll find your panel lights, your pump engaged indicator, driver side flood, and passenger side flood. I was mistaken. It is the driver main inlet electronic L-card valve. Moving to the left of that in the gray area, you'll find your master intake, master discharge. You're also going to find two test gauge ports which currently have plugs in them, and beneath that an audible adjustable speaker for alarms. In the red section, you'll find your Husky system, which is regard to your foam and the directions, in addition with the foam level tank indicator. Now moving to the left-hand side, you'll find your passenger side inlet. This is going to be your L-card passenger inlet, which is an electronic valve, and to the left of that, open and close for your rear inlet. Let's go ahead and take a look at your set of valves here. On the right-hand side of the controls here, you'll find your driver's side auxiliary inlet. Across the bottom, you'll find 5 additional discharges. These are varying from crosslays to discharges to the driver's side. These are all color-coded. They are also indicated in the white label as to what they operate. All of the valves here are locking. To the left of that, you'll find your tank fill and recirculating line. And further to the left, you'll find your tank to pump. As we move to the left again, just about the center area, you'll find your Pierce. This is going to be your throttle control or pressure control, whatever mode you choose. Just a couple of things about this. There is a check engine light at the very top or a stop engine light just for safety. And read your owner's manual regarding the operation of this. There's also a water tank level located in the center. Just to the left of your throttle control, you'll find your deluge discharge and also your reel discharge, which also houses for foam and water. Those are clearly identified by the red indicator on it. Also, you can see across the bottom here, there are 4 color-coded discharges and also lettered and numbered. And at the very far left is your passenger side auxiliary inlet. Let's go ahead and move and take a look at the very top section here. You can see at the very top you have your deluge in the very center, and on the right and left hand side you have a movable floodlights. Taking a look at the deluge real quick, you can see you have a wheel here that will turn open and close, and you also have a gauge in the upper left hand side in the yellow. We're taking a look now at the reel for the passenger side of your vehicle. There's also an LED light in this area. We're standing now in the front section of your pump panel looking toward the rear section of your covered hose bed. You also have a powered ladder equipment rack, and we'll talk about that in the next set of images. But before we do that, let's go ahead and start down the driver's side of the apparatus. Just past the pump panel, you'll find these 3 fold down steps to gain access to the top. And now we'll start moving our way around the body of the apparatus. First, let's take a look in this roll-up door here. Once it's revealed, you'll find at the very top a pull-out, pull-down style shelf, and at the very bottom an adjustable fixed shelf currently in its position. To access this, there are 2 points. The black levers push inward, and that will allow you to pull out, and then the shelf will drop down. Difficult to see in the very top up here because of the shadow, but I think I have an image here next which will show you the Shore power outlet here. This is a 220 amp outlet. It's powering currently your battery charger for Shore Power. We'll go ahead and take a look at the 2 compartments here on the lower section just above the rear tire. In these compartments, you're going to find the first front compartment, bottle storage, a bottle storage in the second portion, also your DEF and diesel fuel. Looking just up at the top of this area, roll-up door, you'll find an adjustable fixed shelf in this area. And as we move to the very back half of the apparatus, the components here, you have an adjustable shelf at the top and also a pull-out style shelving at the bottom or drawer. In the upper right-hand corner, you're going to find an additional outlet, 20 amp Shore outlet power. And as we look at the very bottom of this, this is the mechanism that allows you to gain access in pulling that shelf outward. Depress it, and it will actually allow the shelf to move outward. It's currently in its outward position now and fully extended. Just underneath this, there are 2 things I want to talk about. First, your foldable wheel chock is located in this area. In between the wheel chock and the rear wheel, or just behind the mud flap, you'll find a 2x2 attachment point. This is a 9,000 pound maximum allowable winch rating. That's what this anchor point is for. Generalized view of the rear of the apparatus. We'll talk about components here, but let's start just underneath your rear of the apparatus, and we'll talk with the attachment point here in the very center. Difficult to see in this image, but there is an attachment point here, and on the right and left hand side, perimeter lighting. As we move up on the outer section here of this cluster, you'll find an emergency light, you'll find a backup, a turn, and a brake light. Just up from that location, you'll find an additional switch for the rear scene lights. There was also one in the very front area. And as we move further up from this location, you'll find your license plate and a light for that license plate. Let's go ahead and move all the way up to the very top, and you'll find a fold-out shelf or fold-out step, access to gain to the very top of the apparatus, and also a grab rail. Here it is in its deployed position. There are also lights here that will illuminate for step lights and work lights. Here are the 2 fold-down shelves here near the rear center roll-up door. Let's take a look behind the rear center roll-up. This is going to offer a pull-out shelf. It's the same mechanism as your other shelves. On the right-hand side, you'll find the lever to depress to allow that shelf to move in the outward position. Let's go ahead and take a look at the very top of your apparatus. You have some components here, and I'd like to cover some of those. Let's start in the far right-hand side of the image, passenger side, all the way to the far right. You'll find this is that electronic rear inlet, large diameter. Just to the left of that, you'll find a 2.5-inch discharge. In the center, you'll find a backup or reverse camera. You're also going to find some warning labels here regarding pressurized caps and also riding in this area. At the very top of the apparatus, let's take a look at your hose bed area. In the hose bed, you can see you have a variety of different dividers here that can set up different types of hose loads for you. We'll now move down the passenger side, talk about some of the components on this side, in addition with your ladder rack. First, let's start in the very rear section of this compartment, roll-up style compartment door. In the midsection here, you'll find a shelf that is fixed mounted, And then at the very top of this compartment, I have in the next image, you'll see the shore power outlet in the upper left-hand corner. Once again, 20 amp shore power outlet. Here's an additional image, which is a little bit closer here. This compartment is also pre-set up for shelves if you choose to add those at a later time. Let's go ahead and move now. Just take a look at some of the compartments just above that area. As you can see, you have your equipment powered rack. What I'd like to look at is the light at the very top. That's an emergency light at the very top of that chrome piece. We're now looking at the side near the apparatus at the rear tire, just at the base area. You're going to find your rear inlet air bleed. This is the air bleed for that one in the very rear. That is an electronic valve. Just to the front of that, you'll find on this side your 2x2, 2-inch by 2-inch port here, 9,000 pound maximum allowable towing winch rating. On the left in these compartments, you'll find 3 places for SCBA storage in addition with safety straps. In the front section here, you'll find the exact same layout, 3 additional SCBA bottles or air bottles. At the lower section here by the exhaust, take note of the exhaust warning. It gets extremely hot, and be cautious as to where you park. There's your exhaust pipe there. Let's go ahead and move just upward from this location into the next set of compartments. This is going to be the compartment directly over your rear tire. This is a roll-up compartment door. As you see inside here, there is pegboard for mounting. This is adjustable. It can move the pegboard in or out. You can mount tools on the face or behind it, and it also swings to open. There is a lever inside of the hinge side, which allows you to restore that board back to its locked position. Here is currently an image of lifting the pin to allow that to slide back into its stored position. Let's go ahead and move to the next forward compartment. You can see there are 3 fixed shelves in this location. All of the compartments on your apparatus have lights with inside the compartments, and here's a close-up of that compartment once again. Just underneath the front or side tailboard here, you'll find your rear inlet, pull to drain, and you'll also have a variety of different drains in this location. We'll talk about components in this area. First, let's talk about this access door. We'll move across. We'll talk a little bit about your powered rack and how it operates. Just beneath that, we're going to talk about the cab lift, which will tilt your cab forward for gaining access to the engine and transmission. We'll also talk about the compartment here, access door. We'll talk a little bit about your large diameter intake and also the discharges associated with them. There are 2 on this side, 2.5-inch discharges. And at the very bottom, you have some drains and also a electronic 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. Those are things we're going to talk about in the next set of images, and we'll go to that next. Behind the long access door located on the passenger side image here, once you gain access into this, you're going to find the fill location for your powered equipment rack. This is the hydraulic controls for that and also the pump. Here are some instructions on the type and use of the hydraulic ladder rack as far as its reservoir. And as we move forward, you'll also see an additional reel rewind switch and also, once again, that warning label for pressurized caps. As we move up to the very top here, these are the controls for that powered equipment rack. It's 2 steps. One, there is an on-off switch in the upper portion with a green indicator light indicating that it is on. And as you can see, that releases the mechanism allowing the up or down of lifting of the ladder rack. Currently, as you can see, the latch is in the closed position or stored position. It's not on. And once it's on, you'll see the latches move away so the ladder rack can be then lowered. Currently on your ladder rack, you at the very bottom, you have a 10-foot folding ladder. At the very top, you have additional pole storage locations for long poles. There is a 24-foot and a 14-foot roof, a 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof. And once again, on the very bottom is your 10-foot. To access the cab lift, the instructions are located here, but there is also some caution and hazard and danger labels associated with that. But the raise and lower is on your left under the protected switch, and the activate is on your right. Generalized view here of the lower section of the passenger side pump panel. On the left-hand side here, you'll find an access door. This access door gets behind the pump panel near the large diameter intake. Just to the front of that, you'll find those two 2.5-inch discharges, discharge number 4 in green, as you can see here. And then as you move forward at the very bottom section, you'll find your auxiliary passenger side inlet. This is that electronic valve that's controlled at the pump panel. Moving just up to the very top of this area, midsection of your pump panel, you'll find the rollers for your hose, in addition with a light that's adjustable at the very top. Storage location here, there's a step in addition with a lockable storage area. You can see that's displayed at this point. Let's look just forward at the cab area. Both doors are in the current open position. What I would like you to note is each access point for doors for people have this warning label regarding seat belts and the use of airbags. This red strap is to assist the person in the very back in gaining access up or down into the cab. And once again, those warning labels, your vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag, and so there are some labels regarding that. We'll talk about that in the next set of images. Let's start in the in the driver's side of the front of your apparatus, and let's talk at the first section of the door. You have warning labels in addition with a lock and latch, in addition with 4 window controls for your electric windows. They are located here. Down at the very bottom section here where the step is located, you'll find a step light in addition with an outlet, or an inlet rather, for your air inlet. Just looking inside the cab here, you can clearly identify when someone has their seatbelt on. They are red in color for high visibility. In this area, you'll find your auto charger. This is when you are plugged into shore power. Just inside on the right leg of the operator at the knee level or foot level, you'll find a warning label in regards to diesel exhaust, in addition with equipment damages and reading your service manual before operating your vehicle. Also going to find this yellow placard. On this yellow placard from Pierce, you'll find your City of Richland. In addition with the date of manufacture, you'll find your job number on this. As we move down further down, you'll find your gross vehicle weight rating, tire sizes, rim sizes, cold tire inflation, in addition with your VIN. The VIN number is also displayed on the A pillar of the driver's side. Also in the lower section are your fluid capacities for the types and the amount of fluid for the entire apparatus. We're now just inside. These are the levers that operate the driver's seat. You can see they are air ride seat for inflation and deflation, and also to adjust the seat back. General view of this area of your foot pedals for brake and accelerator. But first, let's take a look at this area. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner with the battery switch in silver, module text here, and also engine and diagnostic transports. You also have ABS diagnostic, DPN regen, engine diagnostic, and your regen inhibit. Those are the test ports that you would plug into for diagnostic information. Let's move up onto the column of your steering wheel. You'll find you have your right and left turn indicator, and if you pull on this, you'll also have the flash for your high beams. Moving downward onto the column, you'll find an additional push for our push and pull, which means you can tilt the steering wheel or telescope the steering wheel for comfort of the operator. Let's go ahead and now move. If we look directly to the under section here where these keys are located, you'll find your hazard. These are your hazard lights, 4-way flashers located on the steering column. You'll also find all the way to the very far left-hand side the next set of switches we're going to talk about, and let's start in that cluster just by the turn signal. On the very far left-hand side, you'll find your ignition switch, and then above that, you'll find your start switch. As we move over to the next set of cluster, you'll find one that says EM, which is the emergency master, your headlights, and panel rocker switch for dimming and brightening. Looking from the steering wheel forward onto the dash cluster, we'll start down in the lower left-hand corner with your transmission, oil, DEF, and water temp gauges. In the center section here, you'll find your RPMs or tachometer, in addition with your RPM speedometer. You also have a variety of informational displays at the very top, center, and bottom in this area also. As we move to the right-hand side of the cluster, you'll find your volts, fuel gauge, front air, and rear air, in addition with the small push-button style This will give you trip hours, your hours, all of the displays that will occur directly in the center in the yellow illuminated area. Let's go ahead and move now just to the right knee location area. You're going to find the high idle or OK for high idle indicator. It is a green indicator light, and you'll find the switch to engage the high idle. Moving just up to the very top, generalized view here of the center console area. We'll break down the components here. In the next part, I'd like to start at the very top. This is going to be your Pierce Information Center. This has a lot of vital information. It's for your engine and apparatus. This is a menu that you can select various menu screens. Just beneath that, you're going to find your engine brake on-off, high, medium, and low for the engine brake, off-road traction device, mirror heat, load manager, and tire chains. You're also going to find here the yellow knob, which is your parking system or park brake, and you'll also find your Allison transmission pad. At the very top, you're going to find your climate control. The gray area is your heat and defrost. The red is the heat area. Blue is air conditioning. You're also going to find your main unit radio microphone located in the center. Let's go ahead and look overhead from the operator's perspective. I'd like you to look at the upper left-hand corner of the screen. This is going to be a yellow indicator or marker indicating your height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. And also it has your job number. These are coming from the Pierce manufacturing. If you add anything additional, you must change that tab also. This is going to be your emergency master, mechanical siren, siren brake, air horn, driver side scene, and passenger side scene. Moving just to the right of that location, you're going to find your PA system in addition with your electronic siren controls. Further to the right, you're going to find your Bluetooth, AM/FM radio, CD player, MP3, and weather band. In the very center, you'll find this puck style red indicator. This is a warning indicator that you have a compartment open. Just to the right of that, this is going to be your main unit radio for communications. Looking from this location to the very back, you'll find your two forward-facing SCBA mounted seats, and to the passenger side, a fold-down seat in this location. Let's go ahead and look from the perspective of those seats looking forward. You'll find on the passenger and driver side, you have roll-up storage locations inside this area. As we reveal the contents inside, you'll see that you have two adjustable shelves, both on this side and on the opposite side, and you also have some lighting inside. At the very top, there is a barrel-style 12-volt access, in addition with shore power access on both the right and left sides. Between these two cabinets in the very center section at about floor level, you'll find an access door and also two chargers at the very top. When the access door is open, this is for your daily checks for engine oil and transmission. There is also a light inside. Looking over the driver's section here, or I should say passenger section, this is the location for your headset system. You can see these are the control areas for that, and it is also a wireless system. Once again, looking to the very back, you'll see you have your headset location here. Here's also a look at the center-mounted SCBA seats. An additional image of that fold-down seat, forward-facing. Let's go ahead and move now to the passenger side front door. As we look inside the passenger side front door, you'll find on the right-hand side, once again, the warning labels. Also important, this is an SRS-equipped vehicle, so you have a supplemental restraint system. Above the head of the passenger, you'll find a variety of controls. We'll talk about those next. But first, the SRS label here indicating there's an airbag, and just beneath that, there is also a warning label pertaining to that airbag. In your seat in the front, there is an SCBA mounted seat here. Once again, red seat belts for easily identification. As we move to the seats section here, you'll find at the very bottom left-hand side of the controls for raising and lowering and comfort. As we move to the front lower corner on the right, you'll find your windshield wiper fill and also a portable radio charging station. Just opposite of this location, moving to the far left or center cab area, there are three buttons. One is your siren brake, 2 is the mechanical siren, and also the air horn. Just midsection here, you'll find a USB style 12 volt and also a barrel style, and you'll find these candy cane warning labels regarding spare wiring behind the panel. Over the passenger's head, you'll find an emergency master, a blank, electronic siren, AM/FM radio, driver side scene, and passenger side scene. Congratulations, Richland, Washington, on your new apparatus. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or need specific information, please contact your Hughes Fire salesperson. Congratulations and good luck with your new apparatus.